here's a guy. Here's an example from the Hill newspaper. Representative Jay Inslee, Democrat, Washington State, said tonight that Republicans want to make the air dirtier and increase the rates of asthma among children. Quote, what reason on this green earth do we have to increase the rates of asthma for our kids, unquote. See, this guy's an a-hole. This guy's a fecal head. Republicans want to make air dirtier and increase the rates of asthma among children. Why? Because they want to cut some bureaucrats out of the EPA? Tell me exactly, how does the EPA reduce asthma? Do you know what the EPA mostly does? You know what the vast majority of its budget goes to? Do you know the answer to this, Mr. Producer? Grants. Grants to all kinds of left-wing groups. I'm not talking about research grants, while there's some of those. But they fund all these environmental groups that then go into court and try and destroy the private sector. Massive amounts of grants. Do you know how I know this? Because Landmark Legal Foundation, my group, we litigated against the EPA, and for years we would get copies of these grants. Studies on cow methane, or paying for board games that environmental nut jobs would put together. Billions and billions of dollars going, all this waste. So when you have an a-hole like Jay Inslee, Washington State, with all due respect, Congressman, saying that those who want to cut this budget support asthma rates increasing among children, that just shows you what kind of a twisted human being Jay Inslee is. When in fact it's Jay Inslee who's been voting time and time again to bankrupt your children and to enslave them to red ink when they're your age. Jay Inslee, who's voted to destroy the future of your children. Jay Inslee, who has voted to make sure that your children's future will not be as bright or as free as you're living today. Jay Inslee, who will destroy the private sector so all the new innovations and inventions, all the new drugs and technologies that can be used to battle asthma and every other disease, including diseases yet known, won't be able to address them at all. That's Jay Inslee. According to Jay Inslee, left-wing radical nutjob Democrat of Washington State, all of you Republicans out there, you favor asthma for children. Any of you have children with asthma? Well, Jay Inslee says you support that because you want to make the air dirtier and increase the rates of asthma among children. How about you independents out there who don't vote for liberal Democrats? I guess you support dirtier air and increased rates of asthma for children, too. Isn't that amazing? So if we don't spend the trillions and trillions of dollars that Jay Inslee insists that we spend, then we support asthma. This is what we're going to hear. This is why these people are detestable, and this is why you are going to laugh at them out of disgust. They think they're going to push your button. Well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Inslee. You supporters of Obamacare, you're the ones who support asthma. As those lines get longer, as the medicines and inventions become less and less useful and there won't be any to replace them, as the government sucks up the resources that ought to be going into health care and treatment, it is you, Jay Inslee, who support asthma. And all the other maladies and all the other list of horribles that you and your buffoonish colleagues are going to spew. Gee, how could we ever solve the problem of asthma without $3.73 trillion? How could we ever address asthma if we didn't bankrupt this nation and destroy its currency? And the school lunch program, unless we bankrupt the nation, how can we pay for the school lunch program? And heart disease research and cancer research and all the list of other health issues and food issues and shelter issues and redistribution issues. How in the world can we survive without bankrupting the country? Do I have you about right, Mr. Inslee? You really are the lowest of the low. Let me scrape you off the bottom of my shoe.